Guruswamy, who joined us on this broadcast on WION. Now, it remains to be seen as to what will be the budget that will be presented tomorrow. Bear in mind the objectives that have been set, the targets that have been set, they are extremely ambitious. A $5 trillion economy is what the government wants to make India by the year 2025. But are we even on that trajectory is a question that we need to look at this point of time, and also addressing some of the nitty-gritties in terms of why the Indian economy has been slowing down in the last few quarters and what the government can actually do to turn things around is what will be looked at as Nirmala Sitharaman presents her budget tomorrow. We'll be tracking the developments very closely. But let us also now take a look at what are the expectations from the budget that will be announced tomorrow in Prime Minister Narendra Modi's first budget in his second term after his return with a landslide majority. This is also Nirmala Sitharaman's first budget as the Finance Minister. You can follow WION for all the updates on the upcoming budget. For now, let's also listen in to what some of the analysts are anticipating could be some of the big-ticket reforms that could be announced tomorrow.
I think the whole credit market is still rather fragile, and the government needs a root and branch reform of that sector. We need healthy credit markets which will bring down the cost of credit both for the investors and for the consumers. That's very essential. So I hope Nirmala Sitharaman makes that a top priority of reform in her budget. I think the government ought to shift its decision-making tools, not to real GDP, but to nominal GDP. This is a technical matter, but I think nominal GDP can be very easily estimated. Government's tax revenue depend upon nominal GDP. We all spend nominal income, we don't spend real income, and the government's expenditure is in nominal terms. So I think we have to change our mindset. I think what really matters is Nirmala Sitharaman to give a message that the fiscal discipline maintained during the last 5 years is going to progressively be maintained, and eventually the government aims to eliminate deficit by the end of the 5 years, and that what she is doing is in terms of long-run growth raising policies and not short-run palliatives.
All right, let's now shift our attention to some other stories. Now, let's get you the latest in terms of the tensions between Iran and the United States. US President Donald Trump has warned Iran that any threats on its part to enrich the country's uranium stockpile will actually backfire. Now, Donald Trump has tweeted, and I quote him here, Iran has just issued a new warning. Rouhani says that they will enrich uranium to, quote-unquote, any amount we want if there is no nuclear deal. Be careful with the threats, Iran. They can come back to bite you like nobody has been bitten before, unquote. Now, as mentioned in the tweet, Donald Trump's warning comes after the Iranian President Hassan Rouhani had announced that after the 7th of July, Iran will enrich uranium beyond a fissile purity of 3.7%. Now, remember, this number is the uranium limit that has been set for Iran's uranium stockpile under the nuclear deal this week alone. Now, Iran has in fact announced not once but twice its intention of undermining the nuclear deal. Now, Hassan Rouhani has also said that Iran's level of enrichment will no longer be 3.7 but will in fact exceed that from the 7th of July onwards.
مرز غنیسازی ما از 300 کیلو عبور کرده و ادامه پیدا میکنه. این برای حفظ برجامه. چرا برای حفظ برجامه؟ به دلیل اینکه ما میگیم هر لحظه شما برگردید به تعهدات خودتون، ما هم برمیگردیم به زیر 300 کیلو.
But also, so why does Iran want to exceed the uranium limit? Now, experts claim that Tehran at this point of time has no legitimate use for uranium enrichment that is done beyond the permitted levels. Now, they also state that the move is in fact aimed at increasing pressure on Europe, China and Russia. Iran wants these three parties to actually come together and compensate for the impact of the US sanctions against it. Now, analysts also point out that the move is to increase the uranium enrichment limit is purely a political one, and therefore it cannot be read as Iran's attempt at pursuing nuclear weapons.
要发挥中国共产党领导的多党合作和政治协商制度的优势。